In day 2, we're going to be painting the engineer. Now this flower is essentially the cone flower, and when I first saw it in real life, it's got such a beautiful presence, and mainly because of its shape, and it's so interesting that all of its petals are pointing downwards. Now we're going to try and get that beautiful cone shape in our painting today. On top of that, you're going to get to also hear the conversation that Emma and I had during our painting session. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jillian. I'm a psychologist turned full-time watercolor artist, and I'm here to show you how to embrace the mess and magic of watercolor. Let's take a look at the supplies that I'll be using during our painting. As we will be moving back and forth with conversations with Emma and my painting process, every time you hear an instrument, that's when Emma and I are gonna start chatting. Hopefully this gives you a little transition so that your brain learns to switch between the two.
Yeah, are we doing the cone flowers?
Let's do the cone flower. Let's see. Where's the
I'm
cone
curious
flower?
to see how you're gonna do. It's a 316. I'm curious to see how you're gonna do the centers of the
Centers? Yeah, I'm gonna try and scatter this out so that the proportions are right. I'm trying to figure out if the engineer is smaller than the magnolia.
I
Because
think
they are,
think
right?
they are.
Slightly.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. What pink are you using?
Paul Rubens.
Opera Rose?
Oh, Opera Rose? No. Oh, the color? No, I'm using I don't know, whatever the pink one is in this palette.
Welcome to today's tutorial. Now I'm so excited to paint these cone flowers, and I'm starting with my 1/2 inch flat brush where I'm just pulling it along the corners of it. So I used the corner of the brush and I basically dragged it out. You can see that I'm varying the color values, and I'm starting with my petals first, and then I'm leaving that center on the top empty, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with some green later, and I don't want it to dilute my pink. So I'm taking my time with my petals, and in the beginning I had some petals that were overlapping, so this is where I'm using my small round brush to define some of that. So I am either darkening some petals or even adding some lines to these petals just to create some definition and separation between the petals. Now, keeping in mind that the petals tend to be a lot more thick in volume around the center, so you want to make sure that you've got some nice darker color values there. I noticed that my stamens have a hint of green, so I'm creating a green underpainting, and an underpainting is essentially your first layer, and subsequently you're going to add in additional layers on top of it so that green actually shows through at the bottom. So I am actually darkening just around the rims because I know that is where all my shadows are. You can see that I'm adding in some of those darker values just around the edges close to the petals, and I'm also being very careful not to touch the petals. My existing petals have dried, so I'm going in and painting some in-betweens where I want to fill in some of the gaps. I'm also adding in some really thin lines just to give the petals a little bit of definition. Take your time with this and remember to keep breathing. In this painting, you will just expect one cone flower and a bud, so you can repeat the process throughout your painting. Now I'm going to be adding darker permanent rose around the edges of the stamen because that is going to help me to give so much more definition to the stamen. Honestly, right now I'm at the stage where most of my friends who watch me paint, they are just thinking like, wow, like you're just living the life. Like, where do you even find the energy to just do this? And they think it's for fun. I'm like, no, it's not for fun. Like, I'm teaching here,
Yeah.
I'm trying to earn a living here.
So what is your schedule like for filming and like doing all of because I find like you say I do a lot, but I feel like you're doing so much. like with all your courses and then the videos, and then you're constantly posting on like YouTube Shorts and Instagram. I can't even find the time to post on that stuff either. So how, like, what does a day look like for you?
I started painting a bud and I started by adding some vertical lines that kind of mimic the outside of the bud, following which I'm going in with a darker color. Now be warned that my first layer where I've got that light vertical lines are already dry before I'm adding in those darker centers, because I don't want the darker centers to bleed into those lines. In fact, I'm trying to do negative painting around that so that you can see those light petals on the outside. I know I paused on that conversation and Emma and I still continued talking about it. Stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm going to be sharing with you how my day looks like. Use your small round brush to pull your stems down and try and do it in one single stroke if you can, because this is going to prevent your water beads from gathering at different spots, and that's where you get little dots on your stems.
Oh, children.
So I was gonna paint more engineer, but like I'm taking so long, so like I'm just gonna paint one. Like this is gonna be a lonely one, but
I painted 3.
no, I'm just gonna paint one. I painted one in a bud.
Here you go.
I was thinking about a naked one because I quite like the naked looking ones.
Yeah.
The ones where the petals are a bit sprayed out.
Yeah.
Quite like those.
I tried to do one of those, I think.
Yeah. I am working on the centers of the coneflowers, and here I'm actually adding in a Van Dyke brown which matches the magnolia branches, and I am adding that in around the edges close to where the petals are, and you can see that I'm still revealing parts of that green. So now you can see the whole coneflower slowly coming together where I'm connecting between the petals and the stems. And this Van Dyke brown, I'm slowly changing the color value. So as I go towards the center, I'm using a slightly lighter color value so that you can still see the transparency of that green show through.
I think so many people are so afraid to practice and try things
Yes.
because they don't want to ruin it. But it's like, okay, well, if you ruin it, you ruin it. But what if you don't? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to try to see, because you might not ruin it.
Yeah,
I feel like
I have to agree. 100%. I want to create more definition in the center of this bud, and this is where, after it has fully dried, I continue to darken it by adding in a darker color value. Now always wait for your layers to dry between so that you get to create nice defined. Okay,
let me see.
let me show you what I got.
I want to see yours first.
Da.
Oh, cute. I like yours.
Yeah, it's a...
That's cute. That one's mine.
Oh, I really like it. So much movement in your petals. Mine look dead. Yeah. I need more life in mine.
I like it.
This. It's so fun. This is fun. We should do this more.
Fun. I know. We should even just hang out and do this. What does a day look like for you?
Okay, so I've got... So I send my 2 kids to school, my 2 older ones.
Okay.
And then I've got my youngest with me. She's attached to my hip.
Yeah.
And she's with me all morning. I would be playing with her, taking her to the park and stuff like that. And so I'm doing that all the way till about 1.
Okay, wow.
And then she naps finally. And when she naps, I would then go and decide, okay, what do I feel like? Am I gonna paint? Usually it's on the fly, like it really depends on my mood at the moment. Because I feel like, as you said, like after a while, I get tired of painting too. Like I think this is where I guess the video editing is a bit of a different. Yep. I don't really enjoy it. But
Nope. I don't hate watching myself over again.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it. But it's a different scene. So it helps a little. I would be writing emails at night. So I used to be breastfeeding my kid and I would be writing emails when I was breastfeeding her and I would
Yeah.
be editing reels as well. I know, I know.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, enjoy the moment. But I'm like, dude, like,
I got stuff to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
stuff to
No, I
do.
feel you.
Thank you for joining me in our chat with Emma as well as painting together with me. It was really, really fun, and I have to admit that painting with Emma was not easy because a part of me also feels like she's such a good teacher and she's been doing this for so long, and that imposter syndrome for me also creeps up. So just in case sometimes you feel like you're not sure of where you're going and some of that imposter syndrome starts to creep up, I want to remind you and help you to recognize that those feelings happen to most of us, and this especially when you are self-taught just like myself. Now I want to encourage you to try out this painting and also show it to me. Use the tag Flower Color Guide Summer Challenge if you're on Instagram, and I cannot wait to engage with you down in the comments below. Let me know which part of the conversation you enjoyed the most, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.